What we did was we used ether. They would use ether or chloroform, 1 drop per respiration until he was medically induced. For the lay people like that, that means every time he breathed, I gave him a drop until he went to sleep. Okay?
Ready to look at this, Doc?
Yes, sir. Ooh, I went straight through.
Straight through. All we can do is cut it off.
Yeah. Okay, the bullet went straight through his wrist. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to amputate the hand. We're going to move. We put a tourniquet on him yet?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay. We're going to take the knife.
Where's Billy?
You're fine.
You need to saw it. You need to saw it off. Oh. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Is this arm's gonna get cut off?
They're amputating it. They're going to cut it off.
Hold on just a second.
Oh man.
It's putting what to it?
Take to burn it.
What's he doing?
And what he's doing is he's carburizing it. The carburizers act like a branding iron. They will stop the bleeding. I need some bandages. Where's my bandage?
Okay, we got him.
Here, just give me a clean bandage you can get. That white one right there. Yeah.
We got the blood stopped, Doc.
Okay.
I'll let you take over.
Nurse, hold his arm, please. Nurse, hold his arm.
They get real neat. Nope. Ew. Yeah. No.
All right, hold it right there. Let me have a knife real quick. Yeah, cut that right there. Come on, wake up. Come on, come on. Get up. Start. Son, we had to take your hand off. Come on, son. Nurse, go lay him in the tent. The war between the states was the end of the dark ages in medicine. After the war, within a few years, we had aspirin. It wasn't until World War II before we got penicillin. What you saw today was just a part of what a surgeon would do. Each surgeon in a regiment, a regiment would probably have 3 to 4 surgeons, excuse me, and each surgeon would have assistant surgeons, 3 or 4 under him. But each surgeon would perform during a battle about 300 to 500 amputations in a 24-hour period. I've got a photograph of a Union surgeon. He's resting on his table. He's got blood all the way to his collarbone. He had a white shirt on, but the blood's all the way to his armpit. And at the end of his table is a 4 feet high pile of legs, arms, hands, and feet. A lot of times they would commandeer a house. They would take all the furniture out of the house, throw it in the yard. That's right, even your grandmother's precious knickknacks and paddywhacks. And they would take the doors off to use as operating tables. A lot of times they would use the upstairs bedroom for the operating room, and they could just throw the body parts out the window. Now, the orderlies, they would tell them, go bury the body parts. But if they just told them, go bury them, if you told your son to go bury something, would he dig a 6 foot deep hole? Or would he dig a hole just enough to bury him? Same thing with stewards. If you don't specifically say, bury them 6 feet deep in a hole this deep and this wide, they're going to bury them just under the soil, and at night the feral hogs are going to come through and scatter those body parts all over the battlefield. Today they're saying now it's probably 1 million men died from that war. But we'll go on 650,000. That was the last quote we had when I made my sign. Only 150,000 men were killed in combat. The rest of them died from disease and infection. The 2 most common diseases were the diarrheal diseases like typhoid fever and dysentery. Now, I'm also a preacher. You go to hell for lying like you will for stealing. How many have ever had diarrhea? If you've eaten anything or you've drank anything, you've had it. Welcome to the human race. That act is your body trying to get rid of the poisons that are infecting you. Back then, they didn't know about the bacteria theory. They would treat the symptom and not the disease. So if you have diarrhea, what are they going to do? They're going to give you food that's going to block you up, bind you up. Cheese, grits, chalk, whatever they can do to bind you up. 10 days later, you die from an intestinal infection. You're a casualty of the war. Now, today, they know not to bind you up. There's a reason your body's trying to get rid of that poison. Now, here's another question. How many, when you go to the bathroom, leave your toilet lid up? Come on, go to hell for lying. That lid is there for a reason. If you do not shut that lid and you flush that toilet, billions with a B of airborne bacteria go in every direction, 6 feet in every direction. So if your toilet is here, your sink is here, where's your toothbrush standing? Guess what's all over your toothbrush?
Dirt.
You might as well have taken that toothbrush and scrubbed the rim of your toilet with it. You go eat a little Debbie cake, what does Mama tell you to do? Go brush your teeth. Guess what's on your toothbrush? Poo germs, yuck! Moms, this is the best way to keep your family healthy and not sick. The easiest way is to just shut the lid. There's a reason that lid is there. Shut the lid, and I can always tell when my son has been in the bathroom, the lid's shut. He learned. Take a glass, put hydrogen peroxide in it, stick that down in there. Whenever you want to brush your teeth, rinse it off, put your toothpaste on, brush your teeth, rinse it off, stick it back down in there. About every month, change it. It's fine. If you have a regular toothbrush, not an electric, But a regular toothbrush, you can put it in with your silverware once a week in your dishwasher and it will sterilize it. How many of you kids help mom in the kitchen? Whenever you're working with mom in the kitchen, what is she always telling you? Wash your hands. There's a reason. We make ourselves sick. Now it takes about 6 to 8 hours for food poisoning to finally make you start throwing up and giving you the other. So if you eat supper at 6 o'clock and at 9 o'clock you're throwing up, you didn't get sick on what you ate for supper. It's probably whatever you ate for lunch. That greasy hamburger sounds like a good idea, didn't it? Okay. Well, we make ourselves sick by simply washing your hands. Now, you guys should know this. How long do you wash your hands with antibacterial soap?
20 minutes.
2 minutes. The best way to do it is to sing happy birthday to yourself twice. And if you look funny doing it, tell them, so what? Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Lieutenant Colonel. I just got promoted. So I'm going to say Major. Happy birthday to me. Do that twice with as hot of water as you can get. All right, are there any questions about Civil War medicine or anything like that? I'd love to answer. Yes, sir. No? Okay.
No.
You raised your hand, young man. What would you like to know?
He says trying to save people's lives.
How do I try to save people's lives? Well, I try my best to try to cut off the infection, but back then they had more dying on them than they had living. Yes?
What would you do if somebody got shot by a cannon?
If they got shot by a cannon, you wouldn't have enough pieces to put on the table to operate on. Yes, dear?
How do you get them back well?
Well, once they go to a hospital, that's a good question. Once they leave here, they'll go to a hospital and they'll recuperate in the hospital, and the surgeon at the hospital will let them know when it's time to leave. Okay? Any other questions? Well, y'all, I want to thank y'all for coming to our little demonstration. I hope y'all had a good time. I hope it was a learning experience. You digging a hole, somebody's going to walk by there and break the ankle in that hole. Pat it down good. There you go. Pat it down good. Well, I thank y'all.
Now it's going to hit you with
Okay.
I got a question.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go look for that thing so I can...
It's not a medical question. I missed the...